Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and of course, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate had the big patch, blew up the game. You can have all sorts of variations, all sorts of stuff. And with that, this video specifically, I want to talk about Kano. Now, the reason we're talking about Kano today is he's gotten so much out of custom variations. I think it deserves its own video. Now, he's maybe not the best character in the game right now, but considering he went from a low-tier character that not a lot of people cared for, and now I think his potential is through the roof. He's gotten so much out of custom variations, so much new game plan, so much new tricks and gimmicks, that we just gotta talk about it. With that said, there's two example variations I want to show off here. We have one right here, which is manhandled, lumbar check, and chemical burn, which was basically the old Ripper variation, just we're substituting rack off with chemical burn. And we have another variation here, which is biomagnetic pull, chemical burn, and lumbar check. So why did I pick these options? Well, hey, let's talk about it. Now, before I get into why I think Kano is so crazy and strong right now, I just will very briefly go over the variations, just in case you're not aware here. The first variation, we have manhandled, we have lumbar check, and we have the chemical burn. First up here, manhandled, classic combo starter. This is what lets you do some basic combos with Kano, so it's always handy. Plus it gives your overhead just a little bit extra zazz. Lumbar check, command grab, always happy to have a command grab. And in light of many throws having their damage slightly nerfed in Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, the command grab still being able to be EX for 18% is very strong. And chemical burn, which is the heart of all of this here. Chemical burn, well, we'll just go into it later here, but it is a big deal. And our second potential variation also has chemical burn, also has the command grab still, but the difference here is we have the biomagnetic pull instead of the usual enhanced combo ability, but this gives you combo ability as well as some dirty gimmicks, which we'll get into. Now, chemical burn, let's talk about it. This is the real superstar. So before chemical burn was in what we would have called variation 2 dirtbag, and this is the one with the Molotov toss here and also Vegemite, which gives you like slightly better Kano balls. And like Vegemite is not awful, but it's certainly not as good as extra strings and extra combos or a command grab. And as for the Molotov toss, honestly, it was never that good. Yes, you could set someone on fire with it. That was the big thing, right? But you know what? You don't need it, because you can set people on fire yourself without it. So you never needed it to set people on fire, right? You just need the opportunity to do it yourself. So this move, as wicked slow as it is, man, like, it just wasn't great. So we're taking two deadweight moves here, and we're adding the superstar. And why is chemical burn a superstar? So first up here, it's a very quick special. It does 6% and also has a bit of a damage over time effect, as you can see here. It's not very pronounced, but you know, it's enough that you got to think about it, right? It definitely adds up, as you can see here looking at the health bar. And of course, you can combo into it with a variety of moves and strings. Like, it works that way just fine, right? So while the damage over time is up, you're susceptible to being burned, right? And this can happen with the Molotov as well, but it works with itself if you just enhance it. And he throws a lighter on you, right? And if for whatever reason, say that lighter were to miss, it creates a fire pit on the ground. And all of a sudden, hey, we get that Molotov effect effectively for free. And while you have the burn up, anytime you enter the fire pit, you take unavoidable, unblockable 6% damage plus the DOT effect, and it just, well, as you can see, you just get burned up real fierce, right? So I'm Devora right now, and I'm just holding up. And I can't escape. I'm standing, so I can't roll out or anything. I'm literally trying to jump as fast as possible. I'm just holding the button, and there's literally no way out of this. I just got to take the hit. I got to take the unblockable 6%, and then I'm just stuck in a fire pit while Kano can do whatever he wants. And the whole time I'm in there, you know, I got to defend myself. I'm still got to block. And there's many ways to set this up here. Just back one in the corner raw. Leaves you at literally the perfect distance to set this up. And this move is an auto option select, by the way. The enhance cannot come out unless chemical burn hit. So if it gets blocked, hey, well, there you go. Say if you're in the corner here, you get like whatever basic combo, an easy setup again here, go from there. And the other reason besides the big setup why it's so strong is it's just really annoying on block. because Kano moves so far backwards while doing it, most characters cannot dream of doing anything about it. Like, can D'Vorah do anything -13 from this distance? No, she cannot, for example. And for some characters, you think, well, well, Sub-Zero can deal with it. Yeah, sorta, sometimes. So Sub-Zero, he can reverse slide punish it on some strings if it's literally point blank, and if it's even like a pixel past point blank, he can't punish it, and if you try to slide, Kano can block in time, and he gets a full punish. So overall, just with the damage, with the setup, with the annoyance, because Kano can just keep resetting himself, and the second you think you're cute, maybe you can toss a knife or something, like there's just so many ways to make it work. Now with all that said, let's talk about the variations here and just what they have to offer. So the first variation here, manhandled, lumbar check the command grab, and chemical burn. Well, first up, if you yourself are the one who's stuck in the corner, thanks to the side switch of manhandled, well, then we get this exact setup we were talking about earlier, right? And then we can go all into the burn stuff and hit people in the burn and just deal with all that stuff, right? And of course, this is just how he gets like combo damage, right? Like, so if you're just looking for fundamental power, like just having reliable combos, 30-ish%, always very good. And it just lets you have a fundamentally sound Kano. So you get all the usual stuff with Kano. The extra strings are very helpful for a lot of reasons. And you get, the command grab. Command grab is very good. And chemical burn helps out the command grab a lot. And we'll talk about that later specifically because it applies to both variations. But you get your effective, variation 1 classic Ripper Kano with just a much better move. So you get all the use of chemical burn with the classic move set and everything it has to offer. So it's basically your fundamentally sound Kano that is just strictly better. Now our second variation, so still chemical burn, we still got a command grab, and we have the biomagnetic pull. So biomagnetic pull, it does allow for combo ability, as you can see here, although the damage isn't as good as manhandled, as you can see there, right? But the whole reason we have it is we'll lose out on the damage of manhandled and some of the utility, sure, but we have a whole different slew of utility, and it is all banking all in on the chemical burn. So a lot of the chemical burn stuff I've been showing you is applicable in the corner, right? Like I'll do whatever setup here, and we'll have the perfect spacing to do chemical burn into the lighter. And not so much mid-screen, right? That's unfortunate, but not so much mid-screen. Like, I could hit you with the lighter mid-screen, but then I get that version, which is not as ideal, because I don't get the flame pit, I don't get the unavoidable 6% damage, and all the damage over time. But that's where the biomagnetic pull comes into play. Now, all of a sudden, with that utility, hey, come into my trap. Oh, look at that. So I forced you to come into the fire while you had the chemical burn up, and all of a sudden, you just had to take that. And let's say after this initial hit, you're inclined to block. Oh, you still got dragged in. Huh, funny about that. And keep in mind, once again, the chemical burn is an auto option select. The EX cannot come out unless you got the chemical burn hit. So all of a sudden, the pull, well, it lets us have combo ability, right? Like maybe not cool, big, sexy combos like manhandled, but it gives us that utility. But it is now a way to enforce ourselves to always get chemical burn here and just drag you into it. Because the range, as you just saw right there, very large. Hits from roughly this far away. So yeah, and if you could block it, while the block, you getting sucked in is not as much, you still get sucked in a bit, right? So even if you attempt to block, you're still being pulled into the trap. So effectively, variation 1 is like a more solid Kano, just with the ability to use the chemical burn and all the awesome stuff it offers. And we have the biomagnetic pull version, which is just doubling down on the grease. You lose some of the fundamental soundness of manhandled, but then we're just going all in on chemical burn and its insanity. And now just to talk briefly on the command grab, because both variations have the command grab, and there's a reason for that. One, there's just good utility, right? Command grabs, even a high command grab versus a mid, is always welcome to have, right? It can help some combo damage. It can help just, doing it raw neutral. It just is valuable to have a command grab. But chemical burn helps with Kano's command grab in a very big way. So Kano actually has 2 tick grab setups if you're not aware. Off 2-4, and you go for it on block, and off 1-1, and you go for it on block. But the thing is here, like, you can always just, let go block and the command grab will whiff. That's how it's always worked. And, like, ideally, you're supposed to have these follow-ups here. So 2-4, 1+3. and 1-1-2 to discourage them from like letting go of block, right? Haha, I'll hit you. Except the problem was it didn't work that way. You could literally just let go of block, then reblock, and you get both options. And it was kind of trivial, honestly, especially for 2-4 or 1+3. In fact, you could flawless block it and turn it punishable. So you can like punish Kano for doing that string. But with the introduction of the chemical burn, it really helps out. So before, the only way to really enforce your will, if you thought they were going to like block, unblock, you know, all that kind of stuff to get around it, was like do your string, go right into Kano ball, which is unadvisable, basically. Like you're putting yourself into a mix-up where the defender has literally all the advantage, because what you're going to get out of it versus what they'll get out of it is completely lopsided. But with chemical burn, if you were trying to let go of block and then reblock, say for the 2-4, 1+3 gap, try to flawless block it, chemical burn will hit you while you're letting go of block. Same idea here, 1-1-2 here, while you can let go of block and then reblock, so you avoid the command grab while still being able to block the 1-1-2 follow-up. Ideally as well, you can do this, chemical burn, and it'll get you. Now there is actually a specific timing, just so you know, where you can actually still block the chemical burn and not get hit by the command grab, but the window is impossibly more strict than the old window here. Like this was literally trivial to get around the command grab and still be able to block and flawless block this follow-up, right? So no tick grab setup and no trying to get around the tick grab setup and, you know, try to beat the defender. But thanks to chemical burn, you can just get around all that. So yes, a human with literal perfect timing can still block this in time, but one, you need perfect timing, so it's very difficult to be able to avoid the command grab and chemical burn at the same time. And two, say they did it, whatever, because chemical burn's so awesome, you're so back and safe, like, boom, you don't got to worry about it. You're just out of dodge either way, because that's one of the best things about chemical burn. So it just adds a lot more value to the command grab simply by existing. And that's a little bit of a primer of just Kano being much stronger in Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. I've rarely seen a patch affect a character so dramatically in a fighting game. Like I've seen, you know, low tier characters get buffs and all that kind of stuff. But Kano went from being a lower tier character to now just being the best version of himself, right? So whichever variation you want to go, a little bit more fundamentals based or a little bit more greasy based, either one's equally valid. Kano is now a threat. And of course, as we covered in previous videos too, a lot of the hurtbox issues plaguing him have mostly been fixed. So Kano, this patch took him from a chump into a champ, basically. And I think that's one of the strongest cases for Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, because so many characters now are living their best life, and I think Kano is perhaps the single best example of it, and hey, that's why we made the video. But with all that said, I guess now we're at the end of the video, so thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Mortal Kombat.